Hey everyone, back tuning into this evening's update. We're doing Snow Watch for Wednesday and into Thursday. We've got a rather complicated situation developing through Wednesday and Thursday. We've got a weather system coming in from the Atlantic, trying to bring milder air in across the country. It's stalling though over the country with quite cold air ahead of it, the air that we're currently under, and quite cold air coming in behind it. So although it's initially bringing quite mild air, and I think Wednesday itself is probably going to be just a mostly wet day, as we go into Wednesday night and through Thursday morning, there is the potential for some snow, and possibly, the GFS anyway has indicated some quite heavy snow is possible for parts of the country as well, which could give us our heaviest snowfall perhaps since the winter of 2012-2013. So it's been a good while since we've had a dumping of snow. One or two places could be in for it a little bit if the charts we're looking at are right. And of course that's the caveat, because it's a very complicated scenario. I'll show you the charts in a second, but before I get on with that, just very quick to mention the ads that gets over. It says sleeps articles on all pages. You have a browse widgets and click through the links. You'll be helping to pay for our website, and it allows us to stay completely free, so thanks so much for doing that. So I want to start off with the facts charts, which is the human interpretation of the models by the forecasters at the UK Met Office. So this is the facts chart for midday on Tuesday, so midday tomorrow. And you can see this big warm front here bringing in a warm sector off the Atlantic across Scotland and Northern Ireland. At this point, much of England and Wales is still under cold air, but this is the big warm sector that's trying to bring milder air in off the Atlantic. As we move through up to midnight on Wednesday, you see that warm front is moving down across Northern England and Wales particularly. It looks like it's weakening as it does so though. We've got an occlusion, well really a cold front, but it's a little bit occluded following along behind. As we go through to midday on Wednesday, look what's happened. That warm front, the warm sector, if you like, which is bringing in that warm wedge of air, is moving down to the south of the country. So what's happening is that the occlusion, or the cold front, and the warm front are coming together over the top of the country on Wednesday, and the front is occluding with the warm sector being pushed down to the south. So the warm air with this system is slipping away in towards France and the Bay of Biscay. As we go through into midnight on Thursday, so this is another 12 hours on, we see that the UK Met Office facts charts are placing this occlusion through England and Wales, particularly central parts of the country. It's along this occlusion, because we've lost the warm sector now, we've lost that warm wedge of air, so it's along this occlusion that we could be seeing the risk of snow through Wednesday night and into Thursday. You see that's particularly through Northern England, Lincolnshire, down into the Midlands, possibly through central southern parts of England. Possibly some quite significant snow could be falling along this front. You see the East and South Eastern England, the front never gets there up to midnight Thursday anyway. The front is still away from them, so likely to stay dry and cold in the far southeast. However, by midday Thursday, that front is moving in towards the southeast, although it is very much as a weakening feature by that point. But you'll gather from these charts that this is several hours, from midday Wednesday to midnight Thursday to midday Thursday. This is several hours, 24 hours worth of precipitation here across some parts of the country. Now, it will mainly be rain through Wednesday, but it's on Wednesday night and into Thursday morning that there will be a risk of some snow coming along. This is the GFS, how the GFS is predicted in terms of the upper air temperatures. So this is for midnight on Wednesday, as this warm sector is moving down across the country. So you see at that point, we've got a big warm sector there across much of England and Wales, particularly in those yellow colours. That's telling us where that warm wedge of air is. So it will be raining, I think, through most of Wednesday. This is up to 6 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. Again, that big warm sector covering most of England and Wales. However, quite interesting, you don't see this all that often. By the time we go through to midday on Wednesday, that warm sector, indicated by those yellow colours, is shrinking away. Look how it's slipping away towards France, down into the Bay of Biscay. That's just the warm front of the warm sector is being blocked by the cold air, and that's slipping away down to the south as colder air begins to undercut from probably the west and the north, and also a little bit from the east. And then through the course of Wednesday evening, 6 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday up to midnight on Thursday, we see this cold -5 isotherm beginning to advance southwards across the country. And there's a weather front here across central parts of the country particularly, so the weather front is in this sort of zone at midnight on Thursday, and again it's just telling us where the risk of that rain to snow situation is. And we go through into Thursday itself, and the air's gradually turning colder all the time. Have a look at the precipitation. So this is the rainfall at midnight on Wednesday. It's very wet here across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England. This is mainly rain, a little bit of hill snow possibly mixed in, but mostly rain. And then through Wednesday itself, that's weather front comes southwards and eastwards, so most of England and Wales away from the southeast, turning wet by midday on Wednesday. And then that rain just sits there into Wednesday afternoon. This is 6 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, very wet across much of England and Wales. And midnight, well, there's no progression of this front, so the front is just stalled and it's sitting there across England and Wales particularly, and the air's getting colder at this point at midnight on Thursday, so some of that rain could be turning to snow. And even into Thursday this goes on, so this is midday on Thursday for example, and the front hasn't moved, it's still sitting there. And because it's so many hours of precipitation falling, starting off as rain but possibly turning to snow, there could be quite a covering of snow by the time we get through to midday Thursday across some parts of the country. All important dew points. If the dew points are below freezing, it will snow. If the dew points are above freezing, it'll be rain. So this is from the weatheroutlook.com. You find the link to Weather Outlook on the links page. It's again based on the GFS. So midday on Wednesday, we find that the dew points generally above freezing across most of England and Wales. East Anglia, South East England still below freezing with the dew points. But of course here it's dry. But where it's pouring with rain, where we've got that front stall, the dew points are generally above freezing. So away from high ground, away from the Welsh mountains, the Pennines, perhaps places like Buxton, Wednesday itself is going to just be a dull, cold and wet day. We go into Wednesday evening though, with that front still sitting there across England and Wales, and we start to find the dew points beginning to lower. These blue colours here are telling us where the dew points are going below freezing. So you see that by 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, the dew points have gone below freezing across Wales, across Northern England, across much of the Midlands, even down to the central southern parts of England. Those dew points are going a little bit below freezing, and they continue to drop through the course of Thursday morning itself. Notice East Anglia, South East England, seeing the dew point still a little bit above freezing there. But certainly for Northern England, Wales and Midlands, central southern England, there is the risk of rain turning to snow. This is the precipitation type forecast from the Weather Outlook. So this is for midnight Wednesday, showing very wet conditions across much of Northern Ireland and Northern England, a little bit of snow across southwestern and southern parts of Scotland. We move through the course of Wednesday and you see that band of rain pushing southwards across England and Wales. A very wet day likely on Wednesday. Very little snow through the course of Wednesday afternoon, a little bit over the Pennines, a little bit across North Wales, but generally it's just pouring with rain and feeling quite cold through Wednesday itself. But on Wednesday night, things start to get interesting as that cold air begins to undercut the weather front. This is 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Notice that Northern England and Wales and much of the Northwest Midlands now has heavy snow, and we find that snow area expanding through the early hours of Thursday. So this takes us to 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. It's wet here across parts of southern Lincolnshire and down in towards the East Midlands, South East England. It's still rain there, but through much of the North Midlands, Wales, down to some central parts of England, also parts of Yorkshire, there is heavy snow, and this would be piling up because it's over several hours. So we've got heavy snow piling up, and that just continues through the course of Thursday. Quite a snowy day being predicted there, particularly through the Midlands. A lot of snow there being predicted through the course of Thursday, before eventually it all sort of starts to fizzle out on Thursday evening. By Friday, it's just sort of dying away. Notice it never gets into the southeast. East Anglia, southeast England just stays mainly dry. That's because the stall of the front is a little bit to the west of them. So the total snow depth that we could see from this, being predicted by the GFS, the latest model, is showing quite widely across England and Wales, away from the east of England. We're quite widely up to 5 centimetres, but some parts of the Midlands here going up to 10 centimetres. That's 4 inches of snow across parts of the Midlands. By the time we go through into the end of this event, which is around midnight on Friday. So quite a deep snow cover there across some central parts of England by the end of Thursday. So it's very interesting how this is developing, whether it comes to anything, because it's all very, very marginal. I have to get that point across. It's a very, very marginal situation. Whether this actually comes to anything on Wednesday night and Thursday morning, we won't know for a while yet. We'll know properly, I think, on Wednesday itself what's going to happen on Wednesday night and for Thursday. But at the moment, it does look as though if you're in Northern England, the Midlands, Wales, maybe in some central southern parts of England, watch out, because there could be snow. If you're going to be travelling about on Thursday, particularly early on Thursday, it may just be worth keeping an eye on the forecast and allowing a bit of time for your journey, because it does look as though there comes some quite significant snow around on Wednesday night and Thursday. I'll keep you updated, of course. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.